Hello, welcome to this second webinar on IOPES project. This is a project funded by the European Commission in the DG ECHO under the call UCPM 2019. IOPES, it's a project that aims to go a step further in emergency staff positioning, improving their safety. I'm glad to welcome you on this welcome, and I welcome you in the name of all the partners of this project. Today, we are going to present you the work that we've been doing during the last year and a half, and we'd like you to enjoy this webinar and to ask us as many questions as you have, being now following us in live in this YouTube channel, or being in, if you cannot have the chance to look at and to follow us in live, maybe you are looking this in another moment. If you want to ask us any question, wherever, we are open to answer at any time about your doubts. So let's start. My name is Eulalia Paredes. I'm the coordinator of this project, and I will guide you through this webinar about IOPES. What's IOPES? IOPES, it's a project that aims to increase the safety of the emergency teams in disaster-related scenarios, whether they are natural, like earthquakes or floods, or whether they are man-made, like terrorist attacks or explosions due to an incorrect manipulation of gas installations, for example. We've realized that the emergency teams are very well located when they are outdoors, but sometimes there are problems knowing where the teams are, where they are indoors. Our project aims to try to fill in this gap by providing positioning indoor and outdoor whenever the scenario is. We'd like to ensure that all of them are properly tracked. So if there's a second emergency over the emergency, we can go there and we can know where they are in order we need to rescue them for an unexpected event. How we are going to do this? By using a fast indoors and outdoors cartography generation, by continuous monitoring all the team's members, by using a devoted system that is able to track them indoors and outdoors, and also by establishing an independent communication networks that is independent on the local networks, and even in the situation that we lose connectivity with local systems, we can rely on our own system. Today, we are going to present you about the overall project concept, and mainly we'd like to share with you the images and experiences of our first field test exercise. The exercise took place the last month on May, the 27th of May, and it consists on 3 exercises. We recorded everything on that day, and we did a summary of 30 minutes of that exercise, and this is what we are going to broadcast for you to follow us today and to see how it was going on. And last but not least, we are going to present the technologies that are involved on this project. All the partners will present their technologies, and we will have a slot for questions and answers, trying to resolve any doubt that you can have. We'd like to stress that IOPES, it's a project that is funded by the European Commission, but it's not focused on solving problems just in Europe. IOPES is applicable anywhere as long as the technology is accessible, because we rely on an autonomous and independent systems. The drones, the cameras, even the communications allow us to be independent from the local installations. So we can bring the idea anywhere on the planet, and we can deploy it anywhere in any emergency if we have the technology near us. For example, we envisage our technology for floods or earthquakes, for landslides and subsidence, for storms, even for the damages in buildings due to industrial accidents. It is important to remark that the technology as it is developed at this moment, it's not useful for fires with a lot of smoke. This is one of the limitations of the current system. But since there are quite a lot of requests on this topic, we will see how we can evolve the system in the future in order to cover also this need. Let me, before presenting the technologies, present you the consortium and the excellent team of technicians and of users that are working on this project. We have the Italian company Athene that is in charge of these deployable communications, ad hoc deployable communications for emergency systems. We have Kate UAV from Spain. They are drone technology developers, and also they were the hosters of our first field test exercise. We have another enterprise that developed drones, German one, it's Carvot Technologies. Also, in the technical side, we have the Sarai company that owns an emergency management system that is already working in Iceland. And all the technologies that we are using on IOPES are available for the emergency teams through the system of Sarai. Then we have, as a users and as advisors for us to know which is the needs and the usability, and if the system is useful or not, we have Pau Costa Foundation that it's located in Spain. And we have the Frederiksborg Brand and Branding that it's in Denmark. There are firefighters of Denmark, and they provide us with a lot of feedback on the project. And last, we are CTTC. We are coordinating and also developing the helmet that allow us to track the people indoor and outdoor. During this 1 year and a half, we've been able to develop and to clearly understand which are the requirements of emergency teams. We also been able to develop a concept that it's useful for them and tries to cover not all the requirements, because they are quite a lot, but quite a lot of them regarding the positioning of the staff during an emergency. And the main milestone of this project up to now was to being able to carry on the first field exercise with 3 different scenarios, with 3 different simulations, and to test the use case from the very beginning to the end in 3 different emergency contexts. The user requirements were not only provided by the firefighters from BBVR, but they get in contact with different emergency teams all around Europe from 6 different countries, emergency teams with different needs, with different focus, with different activities, and we received 21 different answers from them, asking for different requirements. As you can imagine, it's not the same police that a fireman or a rescue because of a flood or a rescue because of an earthquake. So the people of Denmark, they did a great effort trying to joining all these requirements and trying to get something that is in common for all of them for us to develop our prototype and to see how we need to test them. So at the end, we arrive an idea like this one. Okay, this is the IOPES concept when we have our emergency teams equipped with, at this time, it's helmets. The helmets includes indoor-outdoor positioning devices and communicates with the command point through a system, a devoted system that is a deployable communication system. So it's not Vodafone, it's not Orange, it's not any of the commercial operators, but it's our own communication system. Everything is presented on this emergency management system that includes also the maps that were done almost in real time using drones, and also can allow us to visualize in real time what the drones are recording at this very moment. So this is the concept that, as I said, it's based on drones, positioning systems, communications, and an emergency management system. And all of these were integrated and deployed on our field tests. In this project, we envisage to have 2 field tests. The first one already took place on May. The next one, it is going to be happen at the end, it's at the very beginning of October in Moixbach. The first one was at Coisospina in Spain. And we test different scenarios like people that it's lost in a deep valley and caves in a flooding situation. We also test what happened during a fire emergency, during a chemical incident. And the next one, the one in Moixbach, there we will test our system in an earthquake environment. At this point, I'd like to give the word to David from Pau Costa Foundation, that is going to present us more in detail this first test exercise.
Okay, thank you, Eulalia. Thank you very much. I will share my screen. Okay, I guess that you all can see my screen. So hello, everyone. I'm David of the Pau Costa Foundation. I'm the person who has been preparing the scripts of the exercise and the one who has been in charge of the overall organization of the first exercise of the IOPES project, which integrates in a combined way all the technology that has been explained by Eulalia. We are really excited to show you the work that we have been working on over the last months. Let me move to. Well, basically, the objectives of today's exercise is to showcase the IOPES technology. And to do so, we have prepared 3 different scenarios in order to do that in an environment which is close to an emergency situation where the operatives and where the emergency services have to conduct certain rescue operations. We have set up 3 different scenarios, each of which corresponds to a fictional emergency situation. No? The first one will be a forest fire. So a forest fire that, of course, everything is under control conditions. We have not set up fire or something like that. Everything has been done only under the purposes to see how the emergency service would operate under conditions that are similar to an emergency. So as I was saying, the first one is a forest fire. Here we wanted to test the IOPES technology, and we had a double challenge. The first one is that the IOPES technology had to be tested inside the forest, which is a challenge because we want to demonstrate that the communications, despite the operative being running across the forest, is still there. The tracking of their positions can still be monitored. And the other thing is that this forest fire first scenario includes an evacuation of the premises of a company. And we wanted to demonstrate that the technology devices could also track the position of them when they get inside the premises, when they get inside an indoor environment. The second scenario that we have simulated is a flash flooding event. In the flash flooding event, from the communications point of view, the main challenge we had is that the fact that the rescues had to get inside the caves. In the flash flooding event, we simulate the overflow of a stream which is close to a caves, to an area which are some historical stuff, and there are many tourists who come to visit the caves and get inside, and they have a guided tour around the caves. So we wanted to simulate a sudden overflow of the stream, in which there were some people who got trapped inside the caves, and they were scared to get out by themselves, and they needed to be rescued by the emergency services. This is quite challenging because the cave, there is one of the caves which is 120 meters long, and we wanted to make sure that the tracking positions were effective, even when they got very deep inside the cave. And finally, we had the chemical speed scenario, which consists of a track which tilts over, as you can see here in the picture, and it has a chemical substance, which is an irritant substance, which is released in the environment, and there is a village, the village of course Suspina, nearby. So the inhabitants of the village need to be evacuated because otherwise they can get affected by the gas in the air. We have been preparing the scenes. Now, each of the three scenarios that I have presented you before have 5 scenes. They all have the same structure. They all have the same 5 scenes. And these scenes are the ones that you can see on the screen. First of all, we provide a contextualization of the emergency situation because, as I said, we are going to simulate some emergency situations. And for the viewers, for you, you need to get the whole context of what is going on, what we're going to do, and why we're going to do so. This contextualization will be provided in the first scene of each of the 3 scenarios. Then we come to the second scene, in which the drone technology developed in IOPES project gets ready. It consists of a drone which overflies an area and get some captures, some images, and with those images are afterwards processed through fast mapping techniques, and resulting from this we get a high resolution orthophoto map. What do we do with that high resolution orthophoto maps? So if we go to a scene 3, the scene 3 is the one that explains how these images captured and processed with the drones are embedded into an emergency management system that we have in IOPES. Okay, so here the emergency management system, which is another one of the technologies that integrate the IOPES concepts, comes into play. Then we move to a scene 4. A scene 4, you can see that the emergency services come into a scene. They have been alerted already that there is an emergency, forest fire, the flash flood, and then the chemical spill accident. And in this scene, they set up the IOPES equipment, no? the devices, which is the portable device that is equipped in a helmet, as you can see here in the picture, in order to track their positions, and also a backpack which contains the communication system, 5G LTE, which will assure that regardless of the environment through which they will run, indoor or outdoor, their position will be tracked. And finally, we go to the scene 5. The scene 5 is the most interesting one, probably, because it's the scene in which the emergency operations take place, in which the rescue operations are performed. So in this last scene, our rescues, the 2 guys who were participants as a rescues, will follow an itinerary which has been predefined, and along the itinerary they will have to complete a series of rescue operations. So they will encounter people who is trapped, or people who is scared, or people who for some reason are affected by the respective hazard, and they will be rescuing them. Well, this is everything. now what we're going to do is to play the video. I wish that you all enjoy the video. The video will take about half an hour. In the meantime, please do not hesitate to enter your questions on the YouTube channel chat, because at the end of the event today, we will have a question and answer session with the technical partners of the IOPES project, the ones who have developed the technologies that you will see following, and they will answer your questions. They will answer your questions live. So this is all I had to tell you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the video and enjoy the video.
The fire occurs during the summer, in the middle of a heat wave, with temperatures around 30 degrees and relative humidity approximately 40%. The origin is due to an accident in a farm contiguous to the forest area. Extremely low fuel moisture conditions after an extended drought period and rapid southwest winds of 20 kilometers per hour pushed the fire out of control in a matter of minutes. Several isolated country houses and other structures are going to be affected by the main fire front in a short time. People stay in their need to follow the instructions provided by the emergency authorities. The fixed-wings RPAS drone is the first component of the IOPES technology to be activated. Drone experts have set up an automated flight across the area affected and threatened by the fire with the aim to capture aerial imagery. These images will be assembled through fast mapping techniques to produce a high-resolution scale orthophoto map. The use of this map will be used for the live tracking of the first responder in the field, and therefore will be enabled to collaborate between operators at the control rooms and the operatives who will carry out search and rescue operations. The high-resolution orthophoto maps produced through fast mapping techniques with drones are ready for visualization on the PC. Drone experts of CAT UAV and Scarabot explain how these images are sorted out and uploaded to the emergency management system owned by Sarai.
Here now we can see the concept of operations of this kind of setups. Here, what we are proposing is to have a place of operation here located in letter A, as you can see here, from which the drone will be operated during the full mission. The drone then is command either by long-range communications or 4G, 5G telemetry link in order to perform either a pre-planned flight plan or even a guided flight mode in which you click on the map, the place in which you need the drone to be located, and then the drone flies to that spot in order to either cover for imagery or even to act as a repeater in order to give communications to those areas that doesn't have proper coverture. So this allows us in this rapid prototyping, rapid mapping application to perform this kind of flight plans that you are seeing here, in which we cover different areas one after the other. And we can upload these maps on the go, so we don't need to have everything previously planned. But if we have any information or any feedback from teams that are in the ground, we can do these flight plans from the operation center, upload them in the plane, and then send the plane to execute them. So once we have the images, then we can process them. And here you will have this table in which we can see the processing times for the different exercises that we have seen today. So we have the three areas, called Suspina Town, the caves, and the center. You have here the approximate surface that we have covered. So it is 50 hectares, 45 and 120. And here you can see the flight time to cover them, the initial processing. Here are the first results that we are getting from those data, the time to generate the 3D model, and the time to generate the maps depending on the resolution. So if we are working at the higher resolution that we can work at, that is this 4 centimeter pixel with this drone setup, we will end up with these times. But if we don't need so much resolution because maybe our application doesn't need it, we can get much shorter times. You can see here, for example, that we are going from 1 hour to just 8 minutes. So depending on if we need high quality data or we need it to be as fast as possible, we have the capability to choose the best setup for each application.
The workers of a company have found themselves trapped in the middle of the spreading fire and have to be warned about the need to leave the area through a viable escape route. Operators in the control room check the accesses to the premises on the orthophoto map and contact the closest first responders in the field, asking them to assist with the immediate evacuation of the workers of the company. The first responders who will perform the rescue operations arrive at the site and set up IOPES equipment before performing the operations. They put on the helmet that incorporates a wearable position device. Moreover, LTE 5G deployable communication system is activated, which will enable live tracking of their position indistinctly in indoors or outdoors environments. The position of the rescuers can be tracked with the emergency management system on the left-hand side of the screen.
¿Podéis iniciar la marcha, Pedro?
The rescuers head towards the premises of the company at risk. The rescuers get inside in order to warn all the workers about the need to evacuate the premises due to the approaching fire. Operators in the control room receive a second alert of a car crash. A vehicle trying to escape from the fire has gone out of control, plunging over a hillside in the forest. The location is very close to the current position. The rescuers can reach the victims by foot.
For the multicopter part of IOPES, at Scarabot Technologies we have developed a camera payload and data link setup for our UAV systems based on the output of the analysis of user needs and assembling work package. The IOPES payload provides 3 different cameras and a 1-watt spotlight. There is one first-person view camera for pilot operations, one RGB 30x optical zoom camera, and a thermal camera with 680 to 512 pixels and 10x digital zoom capability. Intended applications are aerial surveillance of the rescue teams as well as providing images for area map generation. Its key feature is that all camera streams, as well as system control and telemetry, are transmitted simultaneously with low latency to the ground station, which is able to distribute them in a local Wi-Fi network, making them available, for example, to the IOPES emergency management system. Files for map generation can be transferred to the ground asynchronously and are available on a network share. The required data and control link security is ensured by AES 128 encryption and anti-jamming techniques on the radio link. The first implementation of the ground station is integrated in a rugged control handset that acts as a ground station. The handset provides system and payload control as well as a graphical user interface and ground station functionality. The pilot can also watch, select and configure any camera stream. In parallel, the streams and telemetry are forwarded by the ground station and distributed in a local Wi-Fi network. What you are watching right now are the redistributed streams on the ground network. These can be displayed on multiple stations or forwarded as needed. Right now, it seems we have some performance issues with the link of the handset. We're working to improve that. A future option here is also a more powerful ground station setup, as the fully handheld version, of course, has limitations. So this was a very good first test of our IOPES payload under real operation conditions. We're looking forward to building on that and to the second test in autumn.
The rescuers ran across the forest to search and assist the victims of the car accident. An intense web adventure brings sudden and intense rainfall across the region of El Moianès in Catalonia, this being favorable to thunderstorm activity. Copious rainfalls up to 100 millimeters in 3 hours occurs in the area. The rapid rainfall activity culminates in the overflow of the Torrent Mal stream on its course by the natural caves Coves del Toy, resulting in a severe flood event that collapses the area. The flow of the stream rises to 120 cubic meters per second, leaving some people trapped on the other side of the river without any chances to return to the main road. The fixed-wing RPAS drone is activated. Drone technicians set up an automated flight over the area of the caves Coves del Toy to capture aerial imagery. The resulting images will be treated with fast mapping techniques to produce the high-resolution scale orthophoto map. The use of this map will be used for the live tracking of the first responders in the field, and therefore will enable collaboration between operators at the control room and operative dispatch to the area in the caves who will perform the operations to rescue the people trapped on the other side of the stream bank. The high-resolution orthophoto maps produced through fast mapping techniques with drones are ready for visualization on the emergency management system. Communication experts of Athonet explain the communication systems that will enable live tracking of their position. In the exercise, one of the helmets will rely on Athonet's communications and the other one on available commercial ones.
So the firefighters are equipped here with a rucksack, which contains all the equipment you needed to make mobile communications locally. So easy to bring, to take, to deploy, because you just need to open the rucksack, mount the antennas in order to grant the radio coverage in the area, where you need to communicate for critical communications. This is a very simple operations you need to do, and afterwards you just press the button and the system goes live.
Operators in the control room receive several alerts of people who are visiting the caves Coves del Toy and now find themselves caught on the other side of the flooded stream. Also, they are alerted that some people are inside the caves and are scared to get out by themselves. Operators check the accesses to the premises on the map and contact the closest first responders in the field, asking them to get to the area. Follow the walk path that leads to the caves and enter the caves to search and rescue the people who are trapped inside. The first responders arrive at the stream bank to proceed with the rescue operations. They put on the helmet that incorporates a wearable positioning device. This is aligned with the activation of the LTE 5G deployable communication system that will enable live tracking of their positions, both inside and outside the caves. Their position can be tracked with the emergency management system on the left-hand side of the screen. The two rescuers run towards the river, cross the ford, and then continue to head towards the caves of El Toy, where some people are trapped.
The IOPES positioning helmet aims to provide continuously seamless outdoor and indoor positioning of the emergency rescue team. The helmet prototype is composed by a GNSS receiver and a stereo camera, which also includes an IMU and a processing unit. All these components are powered by a low-profile power bank. The built-in camera tracking algorithm combines data from the IMU and from the stereo fisheye cameras. This is to provide, by means of visual inertial odometry, a seamless indoor-outdoor solution. The data fusion algorithm running in the processing unit combines the GNSS positioning with the camera-based tracking, and remains the heart of the system. When good GNSS conditions are available, the algorithm gives priority to the GNSS solution, while switching to the camera-based tracking once the GNSS conditions start to get worse.
The rescuers locate and assist the first victim. The victim has been moved to a safe place and is already receiving medical assistance. However, the rescues need to proceed with the rescue operations in the caves. Two people are trapped at the end of the narrow passage of this 120 meters long cave. They are scared and don't dare to get out by themselves. A truck carrying chlorine gas has driven off-road and overturned because of a collision with a car as it passed near the village of Coisuspina. The occupants of both vehicles sustained minor injuries. However, toxic chlorine gases contained in the tanker of the truck are released into the air. Unfortunately, the resulting irritant gas cloud spreads downwind towards the village of Coisuspina. Skin contact with toxic chlorine gases causes dizziness, nausea, and breathing difficulties, while the gas concentration of over 1,000 parts per million can result in immediate death. Emergency authorities establish a safety distance within a radius of 300 meters around the crash truck. However, they extend the safety distance up to 3 times downwind. Coisuspina falls inside that distance under 4 warning sirens and triggered to issue an evacuation of all the residents. Drones take off, fly as far as the perimeter of Coisuspina and film the surroundings of the village. Due to recent changes in the European normative on the rules and procedures for the operation of unmanned aircraft, permissions to allow drones fly over the urban areas could not be applied for until February 2021, which did not allow us enough time to process them. Usually takes over 6 months. For this reason, the orthophoto map was made for oblique images of the area taken from outside the perimeter of the village. The high-resolution orthophoto maps produced through fast mapping techniques with drones are ready for visualization on the emergency management system. Technical experts of SARAI explain how these images are embedded into the emergency management system and how they will be used for indoor-outdoor tracking purposes.
The SARAI Emergency Management System is an all-in-one cloud-based software solution for incident and emergency management. SARAI's approach is combining day-to-day project management and daily operations with crisis management, preparedness, and asset monitoring, assuring smooth transition from managing small incidents up to national calamities. The SARAI Emergency Management System has been used as the main data consolidator and aggregator for the IOPES project. Users and devices are registered to the Emergency Management System where the two can be linked together. The Emergency Management System receives the location data of the devices, wearable portable devices and AirPods, and stores them in a database and are displayed live on SARAI's map viewer. The map viewer can additionally receive and display multiple sources and base layers and overlays such as the flight path or the AirPods device and the generated orthophoto maps. The SARAI emergency management system is split into a front end and a back end. The front end being the part that the user interacts with directly, sometimes referred to as the client side. The back end, sometimes referred to as the server side, is the part of the application that deals with logic and data. The backend parses incoming data from the front end and stores it into the database. It also deals with requests from data from the front end and responds with data fetch from querying the database. Splitting the application into two very well-defined roles allows for validation of incoming data and ensures that no data be served to unauthorized users. SARAI has developed an API interface to be used by external parties such as IOPES. This API interface has been developed as a REST API service. It uses a secure but simple and non-intrusive authentication method similar to basic authentication with permission scopes that are defined into the SARAI's emergency management system. This API allows to exchange data between other components of the system, such as the wearable positioning device or ERPAS, with the SARAI's emergency management system. The system provides users with access to the generated maps via URL, and the maps are viewable using SARAI's integrated map viewer.
Operators ordered the immediate dispatch of a rescue team to assist with the evacuation procedures of Koisuspina. They identified on the map a car park in the center of the village that can be a good meeting point for the operative and a starting point for rescue operations. An evacuation plan is established that involves special procedures to reach the most vulnerable population in the first place. The rescuers will have reached two disabled people who require assistance to be evacuated off-site. Once the rescuers arrive at the car park, they set up the IOPES equipment. They will be wearing the helmet that incorporates a wearable positioning device. The position of the rescuers can be tracked with the emergency management system on the left-hand side of the screen. The two rescuers head towards the building where the disabled people are. The people are on the second floor of the building.
Okay. So this is what happened on the demo day. As you may have noticed, the first test, everything works properly. On the second, we had a problem with the communications of the helmet. It was not on the communication side, but on the helmet side, because we lose the link, and due to a small bug, we are not able to connect again. But we did several tests before this one, and it worked. So now we are still correcting some bugs that appear during these operational exercises. And in the last one, you may have noticed that maybe the positioning is a little bit not clear where it is the building. This is because you have a small issue with the orthophoto map and with the location systems, but maybe you have been able to see that we are able to locate indoors and outdoors. The precision is quite good, and we believe that during the month that it's needed to end the project, we will be able to cope with these issues that appear on the field, on real field, on a real scenario, and that we will be able to prove that the system, that the overall system, it's suitable for helping the emergency managers and the emergency teams. So just as a quick reminder before going on to a little bit more detailed explanation on the technologies, let me remind you about the IOPES concept. What you have seen now, you've seen firefighters equipped with a helmet that have some devices on the top of it. It's GNSS receivers and cameras that allow to track during all the time and to send the position through the devoted communications on two of the tests and to the normal communications in the third test, to track, to send their position to the emergency management system. We can track 1, 2, 3, 4 equipments or more. Okay, in this test, we test up to 4 equipments. And then we have also the images, the orthophoto maps that were on the background, were orthophoto maps that were done previously to the test, and it takes from half an hour to 1 hour to process and another half an hour to flight. And all these maps were directly uploaded on this emergency management system. So we have the full use case here. We've been also able to see the images of real drones that were emitting and were sending through a radio link the information to a computer. And all of this can be, of course, can be used by the manager of the emergency in order to be able to know where the staff is. It is very important to remark here that we present the IOPES concept as a whole, because we believe that this way we can present all the potential of the idea. But of course, any component, it's independent from the others, and they are communicating through a very detailed APIs. This way, maybe in some situations, we do not need, for example, the communications, or we do not need one of the AirPods, or we do not need the fast mapping, or we do not need the tracking of the system, and the rest of the concept is still available. So all the components are valid by themselves alone, but they are even more interesting when they are combined. So here the IOPES concept, what we'd like of it, it's that it is useful piece to piece and also as a whole. We believe this is something that allows us to develop it with added value and in a more usable way for the users, since we can develop specific functionalities to each of the components without making all the system depends on that. Now, and said so, I would like to share with you the presentations of the technical partners of the project that are going to explain briefly about more in detail about their technologies. Then we will start with the emergency management system that we are using in IOPES, that it's provided by Sarai Brando, or wherever you want. You can start your presentation, please.
So good morning, sharing my presentation here. So just a little bit of a background. Sarai is an Icelandic company. We have our roots in search and rescue. So I'm a volunteer search and rescue volunteer, and been active in many years in the field and also in incident management. And some years ago, I saw some problems that needed solving. We needed to get better tools to get the common operational picture, to share more information in operations. And I founded the company back in 2013, and we've been growing still since. A little bit about Iceland. Many of you might know that Iceland is one of the most disaster-prone modern Western countries that we have been living in a barren rock in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and we are dealing with a lot of problems. Fortunately, on a smaller scale than many countries, but we have the whole spectrum and scope of things like winter storms. We have floods, we have droughts, we have volcanoes, we have earthquakes. And actually, right now we're dealing with a volcano that is actually quite close to a populated area in Iceland, and we have been doing that for about a year, 2.5 months now. Started in 19th of March, and we have been dealing with a lot of ever-changing scenarios and problems associated to that. But we're part of the IOPES, the consortium, and we provide the incident management part of the IOPES system. The system is built as a multi-tenancy, multilingual system, and collaboration can easily be integrated between partners, so that we created just a software as a service workspace for IOPES, and then we started to work on the core technologies underlying the current or the existing system, and we added the tracking function to our system as part of the IOPES system. A little bit about the ongoing situation. So this is a volcano that is spewing molten lava up in the air. The highest lava being pumped into the air has been about 300 meters up to the air. We're about 10 minutes away driving from a nearby village, and we are seeing the scenario of an everyday changing scenario where we have a tourist attraction, actually. So it's a natural disaster that turns into a tourist attraction. In Iceland, if you see the earth opening and the molten lava flowing up, then usually people would, in other countries run away, but Icelanders seem to run towards the fissures opening and think it's a great time. Maybe it's because it's cold in Iceland and molten lava is quite warm. Just a little bit of statistics. The rescue services in Iceland have seen, since the 19th of March, well over 100,000 visitors to the eruption area, which is actually at 200 to 300 meters altitude, and we've had winter conditions. So we've had to get about 60 ambulances. We've had a lot of people with broken bones because it's a mountain hike to get to the area. Here we can see kind of like the tourist attraction. It's really a treat to be able to see nature forming, and the landscape is ever changing, so that every day, every new day is a new day with the landscape actually changing, so that the current maps that we have need to be updated on a daily basis, and sometimes many times a day. You can see that it's just like a river flowing with molten lava. You can see search and rescue people there on the image, and these are the types of incidents we're dealing with. So you can actually see that we have tourists coming to the location. We have risks like gas being emitted, so that people need to have gas masks, and it can actually be it could actually prove fatal if the carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, or the sulfur dioxide reach certain conditions. Usually that only happens in very still wind, and in Iceland that's actually quite a rare occasion, so that the risk is I would say moderate, but not non-existent. The incident management system that we have, the SRI system, is the heart of the management of any incident actually in Iceland, and here you can actually see how the tourists are flocking to the eruption site, and you can see there are a river of molten lava flowing over one of the hiking trails, so that the part of the mitigation to allow people to see the volcano. We tried to close, or rather the police tried to close off the eruption site, but people then just decided to go there anyway, and they were coming all over the place, so that they were scattered all around, and there was no organizing there was no organized approach to the eruption. But then the strategy was changed, and controlled access was actually the key thing. Problem with that is that when you have an ongoing eruption, you can see that on the picture to the left, there is a hiking trail that was actually created by a bulldozer about a month ago. And then, like 4 or 5 days ago, we had the change in the lava flow, because the lava flow is actually quite hard to predict. You can actually predict flowing water with quite good accuracy, but flowing lava is there's so much complexity in the calculations and projections for flowing lava, so that suddenly things change, and you have a major trail cut off by flowing lava. And our system actually is quite good at adapting to the ever-changing scenario. So the common operational picture, which is the core thing, that everybody has the same view, everybody has the same information, everybody has the same understanding of what's happening. It helps us to update the common operational picture, and we do that with adding both GPS tracks, so like KML or GPX for the tech-savvy, and also GeoJSON. We can actually implement that into the system. With the tracking, we actually monitor the location of rescuers, so that we can actually see here the location of active rescuers. So this is about a 2-month period, and you can see that on the southwest of the country there's the biggest concentration of people, and you can actually see either a fixed location or a trail that has been created. And here you can actually see one friend of mine who lives in the northeast of the country, and this is kind of like a overview of his movements within his town over a 2-month period, so that we record, and this is only recorded during operations. So it's not active when you're not logged into a specific operation. We can also maintain location and status and movement of vehicles, so that this is an example of equipment that the system actually keeps track of, and these are the modified SUVs or all-terrain vehicles. And you can see that in the south of the country, there's one vehicle that has the status of non-operational. And then you can see some that are green, some are yellow. So green is fully operational, and yellow is slightly well, it works, but it needs some attention. And then the blue has unknown status. And as I mentioned, with the ever-changing image common operational picture, so that here we have a function of the system, which is the underlying mapping service. So we can actually subscribe to tile servers, and we can import a lot of geo-referenced material. And one of the stuff we can actually do is here. You can see that we actually are importing a satellite image from the European Space Agency, and we configure it so that we control the opacity, and we put up the bounds of the corners of the picture, and so that if you're flying with a drone, you can actually throw out some bounding boxes or reference points where you can actually have GPS points, and you have 4 points or 4 corners that you actually throw out, and then you can fly over, and you're able to geo-reference the image, and then you just update the image overlay. And here's an example of the location we actually wanted more information on. So we only had static GPX or KML trails and tracks to work with. And when we got the satellite images for the eruption zone, then you can actually see that we got a much better overview, because you can see that with the opacity of 70%, we can see the underlying height lines and the altitude of the terrain, and then you can see the actual glowing lava, and this helps us to do planning and better understand the dynamics of the eruption. We have also the function of adding the static trails and boundaries. So if you have other mapping programs like ArcGIS or Basecamp or any Google Maps or something where you have actually created some informatics, georeferenced informatics, and then we can actually import them. And our weapon of choice is the GeoJSON, and projecting KML, GPX, and other standards is actually quite straightforward. And we actually have references to tools to help you to convert any information into GeoJSON. This is the last slide that shows one of the search and rescue volunteers who's actually using his mobile phone to access some information that is being conveyed from the incident managers. And today, with today's technology, we always have the added benefit of getting more information for the rescue volunteers or the first responders out in the field, and with a mobile device, it's so easy to give rich and up-to-date information. And the old paper maps are good for their own use, but when things are changing rapidly and you need to make sure that nobody's going to get cut off by flowing lava or flowing, in floods, with ever-changing scenarios, you need to have the best available information systems and the best available data. And I think that we've done a pretty good job in the IOPES system to add the indoor functionality to the existing systems that have been for some years able to provide the GPS locations. So we have a lot of different standards and different systems. For instance, a lot of first responders in Europe are using the Tetra system, and the Tetra system actually can provide GPS coordinates through the devices that people carry. And the helmet solution that we've seen with the camera that adjusts the GPS or complements the GPS signal and takes over when you go indoors because there's no deep GPS coverage outdoors or underground, then I think we have hit a pretty good and valuable solution. So this concludes my brief overview. So thanks for the
thanks a lot,
opportunity.
Brando. Thanks a lot for your presentation, more detail on the emergency management system, since we cannot present all the capabilities during the demo day. So thanks for today's presentation. Now, we'd like to present you Jordi from KULB, that is going to present us the fast mapping capabilities of the IOPES system. Jordi, wherever you want, you can start with your presentation, please. Brando, maybe. Okay, perfect. Jordi, we cannot hear you. We see your slides.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Jordi Salvador from PCN Drone Center. First of all, just tell you that we've been glad to hold these first exercises here in our UAV test site. And I wanted just to talk a little bit more about the drone usage in this project. So as you can see here again, we have this graph in which we can see how the drones are intended to be used in such emergency applications. So you can see here in point A, it will be the operations center. So all the drones will take off and land at this point and will be operated from that point everywhere in the territory. Thanks to having long-range communications, we can send the drones anywhere. We are talking about long-range and long-endurance drones that can fly up to 24 hours and travel more than 1,000 kilometers. So from this point A, we can send them to the places in which the emergency is taking place. In this example, we can see that the drone will fly first to the city area here and then to this other town here. And at the same time, the data acquired with the drone or any other useful information can be shared both with the control center or with any other area. For example, here we have a police station in which we are also sending the data in point D, or here a smaller police station in point E in which we are also sharing the data. At the same time, as we are probably sharing our airspace with other manned airplanes, we will have to properly coordinate this thanks to having a transponder or ADCB receiver on board. In order to generate these maps that we have already seen, we will do these photographic flight plans that you are seeing here, but just of those areas of interest. Instead of producing a new map of the full area of the emergency that will take a long time, what we will do is focus just on those areas of interest. For example, here we have this farm and our test site for the first exercise, or here we have the Cape areas for the second exercise that we have just seen. So we will only fly these areas, doing these photographic flight plans that you are seeing here, and then move to another interest area and so on. And as we already said, these flight plans can be done on the go. So for example, if you have a team that detects in this farm here in an emergency situation, we can send the drone there and execute a flight plan that we can upload on the go. And here you can see the times that we have already seen. So you can see for the different exercises, we have here the first exercise, the second exercise, and the third exercise. For different actors, the different times to produce the maps. As you can see, this total range here is the one that interests us. And we have here a range that goes from the lowest possible time, including both the flight time and the processing of that data at the lowest resolution, but in this case it is 25 centimeters pixels, to this one that is generating everything at higher resolution. In order to generate this at low resolution and very fast, we don't use ground control points, and this ends up with maps that don't have an absolute precision that may be around 1 to 3 meters, depending on the GPS configuration that we have on board. That for a first study may be enough, but maybe then if we are, for example, in the urban scenario in which the house positions may be crucial, then we may add ground control points. That this is why it will take longer the full time, because then adding those ground control points will end up having a final absolute precision of around 50 centimeters or even better, depending on the resolution that we are using for that camera. So just to finalize, I just wanted to show you the orthophotos now live. So here you can see the map generated for the test site. And in the process of generating this map, the nice thing is that we are also generating the 3D reconstruction of the full area. As you can see here, now you are seeing the RGB field, but now you will be able to see also the digital surface model. You can see here how we have the building reconstructed, the runway, all the roads. So here we have both latitude, longitude, and altitude of each one of our points. And as we are using these drones that are quite weak, they can carry up to 5 kilograms payload, obviously depending on the quantity of fuel that we need, but we can carry multiple sensors at the same time. So for these exercises, we performed the flights with both an RGB camera, like the one that you've seen, and also an thermal camera. So now I will move here and you can see the results for the caves, and you can see now on the front the visible imagery. But now I will switch also so you can see that we at the same time represent this other map, that is the thermal camera, that may help us to locate hotspots, so for example, for the fire applications and so on. And just to finalize this, just to show you the type of resolution that we can expect here. So this case that you are seeing here now is the lowest possible resolution. So this is the 25 centimeters pixels that we've seen here. And now I will switch to this one that is processed at 4 centimeters pixels. And you can see here, for example, in the building, the type of resolution that we can expect. You can see that we can better see this is the same car here, and you can see how the difference in details that we have here in the roof top, that you cannot see exactly here the pattern because of this lower resolution, but then we can produce it at higher speeds. So depending on the phase of the emergency analysis that we can choose to process it very fast at lower resolution, at maybe at less absolute precision, but getting first results in minutes. Or later on, if we need more precision, better results and better resolution, we can spend more time and then have better results later on. And I think that's all from our side. So thanks for your attention, and I just close it.
Thanks a lot, Jordi. Now it's time for Scarabot Florian to present the drones that are emitting the images during the emergency in real time. Florian, wherever you want.
Hello, I'm Florian Olbrich from Scarabot Technologies GmbH in Germany. And let me show you an overview of our drone system as soon as I get my screen share online. Here we go. All right. Oh, this was one too fast, but okay. So we with Scarabot developed the multi-rotor UAV application for the IOPES project. And mainly this consists of two parts. The one is our Scarabot UAV platform, which is a coaxial octocopter with which is specifically well suited for rescue scenarios, as it features advanced redundancy mechanisms which make it very robust. Mainly this is motoric redundancy, so it can recover the loss from at least one motor. And also it features a redundant lithium-ion battery, for example, that has 2 strands, and a full smart batteries monitoring system, so the operator can know at every time the state of the power supply in flight. And also if one half should have performance problems or drop out, it will be able to land with the second redundant half. So this is our platform, which is well suited, and we bring it to bear in the IOPES project in 2 variants. In the test, we used our newer variant, which is a monocoque-based solution that is protected from rain and light spray water. This is a work in progress, so this is prototype, but it's very well suited to the task. The main part that we did for IOPES was the camera payload, which you can see here in the schematic. This is a dedicated 2-camera solution with 30 times optical zoom camera, as well as a high-resolution thermal camera with 640 to 512 pixels. And these is combined with a very powerful radio link that integrates it well into the larger IOPES ecosystem. So here you can see the system that you saw in the video from the test, and also the payload we developed. And yeah, what does it do? What are the main features? You can see here the main feature of the camera payload itself is that it can capture 3 streams simultaneously, 2 on the main payload and 1 from the UAV system itself as an FPV stream. And the specialty here is that we can capture all 3 streams simultaneously and with low latency and send them over a generic data link to the ground station. In the case of the test, the ground station was a rugged handset that was in parallel used by the flight operator to control the drone, take over manually in case that's needed, and also act as a local Wi-Fi hotspot or client to connect the system to a ground network. And the nice thing here is that we are able to stream all the video streams simultaneously to the ground station with low latency, where they can be watched by the pilot for one thing. And the other thing is that the streams can be proxied and shared to the ground network to as many clients as there need to be. So they are available for integration into the EMS system or for viewing platforms, for example, in a control center or by other rescue team members. And on top of that, we can use leftover bandwidth to transfer single pictures to the ground and make them available in a file share, so they can be used for orthographic map generation if analogous to the fixed wing images. I will come to that in a moment. Yeah. So, and this handset is one variant that we developed now for IOPES, but in principle, this can be a more powerful ground station with longer range or better ground and connectivity, for example. Okay, so the process for IOPES with our drone is that we take off, then we record live video, and we can also do mission or manual-based image acquisition with asynchronous image download, which can then be used for map generation or for documentation or communication. And either you stay in the air to keep an overview, track your rescue team, or it is a mission-based scenario where you do a fast mapping scenario and then land again. The nice thing here being that you can, with the imagery download, you can start, we're experimenting with this and it's working quite well so far, that with the imagery download, you can start the map processing during flight. So what we do is like I told you, we stream capture. We do stream capture on the UAV with simultaneous streams on all cameras, stream that to the ground station and proxy it and make it available on the ground. And on top of the video streams, we also use, we also distribute the telemetry and, like I said, data in the ground network. And telemetry is especially useful for a control center which can upload mission data, for example. Right. So this is a test we do for fast mapping internally, but in IOPES this can be used with the same software. The imagery taken by the drone can be used with the same software, for example, that is used for the fixed wings. These are some pictures from the test itself. As you can see here, these are this is the BCN Drone Center where we conducted the test with thermal and clear view data. Right. So I hope this gives you an overview. I'm happy to answer questions. And apart from that, thank you for your attention.
Thanks a lot, Florian. Nice presentation on everything that's related with your drones. Now, in theory, we should finish at 11:30, but there are still 2 presentations, so I like to ask you not to leave us. I promise we will try to keep the presentation to finish this webinar in 10 minutes, so just a 10 minutes delay. Now it's time to know more about these deployable communication systems that can be deployed when an emergency occurs and we do not have local communication systems. So Daniele, if you are there, I'd like Florian to stop sharing their screen and Daniele to start sharing the screen and to give us a presentation on this very interesting system. Daniele?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect. Okay, so I try to be quick in order to cope with these delays. So, yeah, so Atonet is providing to this project so tactical solution for first responders. So what does it mean? So we provide an entire mobile network, compact mobile network squeezed in a rucksack. And this is very helpful for first responders because they can have their own private network, which is quite an important topic nowadays, for running their services privately, so without asking, the permission and the resources to public operators, and they can then share all the communication, the images, videos, and all the services that are belonging to their groups internally. So let me just go quickly through the slides. So just quickly about Atonet. So it's established in Italy in 2005. And from there, we developed the first private networks. At that time, were not defined private networks, but we did in 3 and 4G back to 2011. And then we developed also the full, let me say, 4G platforms and 5G right now. And all the software is developed in-house. So I'll present you 3 of the compact, transportable solutions that we provide for public safety operations. So you see here the cube, a large manpack, a small manpack. And what you have seen is in the video that was provided before is the large manpack. So what about the cube solution? This is the largest one. So here inside you have the macro cell network, so the radio that you connect to with your smartphone, and all the core networks. So the brain of a mobile network collapsed in just one single server, so in just a couple of CPUs and RAM for the core network functionalities. So, and here you see some, let me say, KPIs about this solution, so that can cover up to 10 kilometers of radius thanks to the macro cell. Can then serve so thousands of simultaneous connections, also for large groups, and can provide a set of functionalities. And of course, it can be connected then to the public network when the first responders need to then transfer or even roam to the public network. So this is meant for really big coverages and also for large groups in action. Here, the small Manpack solution, so is the opposite of the previous one. So it's the smallest solution we can offer. This is very useful for small groups of first responders that need to get to the disaster area first before the others. So they need really to understand the situation, to make the first communications at first, maybe taking the first pictures and videos of the situation and communicate this to the command post. So for that reason, it is very compact, just 10 kilograms of rucksack that a person can bring over. And here you see also some numbers. So important also that it comes with batteries to grant an autonomy of up to 6 hours, but can provide the full mobile network solution for private use with all the services that we mentioned before. And then we have the large Manpack that you have seen in the video before, which is, let me say, a mid-size solution compared to the previous ones, and has, again, all the characteristics of the other two. What changes is the radio, which is a mid-size radio. So for that reason, the coverage and number of users are in between with respect to the Cube and the small Manpack solution. As you can see in this picture, you can also connect to the satellite, for instance, or to Wi-Fi, to LTE, to grant a backhaul connectivity to the rest of the world. Because remember, this provides you an isolated private network. Just quickly, some use cases, and then I pass the ball to Eulalia. So the very first deployment of this was at the earthquake in 2012 in Italy, where it was deployed to grant coverage, so internet services to the population. At that time, all the infrastructure went down, so it provided internet. At that time, also Facebook connection for families to communicate that they were safe, and all the services for video surveillance and also for organizing the actions of the civil protection at that time. And then also we deployed the force for the army, and here we have also special corps from other countries. Also for crisis management power plants in 2017 in Austria, we did that as well. Can be provided, so the same solution can be provided also as network in the sky, so can be plugged in a drone to provide a full mobile network on the fly. Also for the Navy, for indoor and outdoor coverage. And one of the latest but important references is a mission critical solution for the French security forces. So for the gendarmerie in France that was awarded, this tender was awarded in 2011. You see here on the left side, the small Manpack with all the other equipment for communications for the gendarmerie. And yeah, let me also mention again for first responders, the deployment of a private network for the airports in France, so the airports in Paris. So also their mission critical communications are needed for the groups that have to provide them security, top security in the airport. So we provide there as well private network and coverage for that, and also in ports. That's it from our side. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Daniele. Thanks for presenting this key technology for our project. Now it's my turn. I will like to briefly present you about our helmet. Okay, this is the helmet that we've been developing at CTTC. It's a commercial off-the-shelf helmet. It's a climbing helmet, okay? And we have equipped it with a small Raspberry Pi on the background, and there's a camera and a GPS on the front. And then there's a battery. The battery, it's the typical battery used to charge mobile phones, for example. It's a small battery, and it's very, very easy to replace. There's a question on the YouTube about that. The only thing that needs to be done is once the battery is finished, take another battery. This is one of the smallest battery, and switch it again, and then it keeps on working. The helmet, it's designed on this way for this test of IOPES. But one of the feedback that we get from the users is that maybe not all the emergencies, the helmet is not suitable for all the emergencies, the ergonomy that we've designed. So the answer to that feedback is that the system can be configured or installed in other garments of the emergency teams. So now it's in this helmet, but can be used on other types of helmets or even on the clothes of the emergency teams. The only things that we need to take into account is which is the part of the body that it's more probably that receive of heats or that there are problems with the camera. We need the camera, it's like the eyes, we need the camera always to see the path that we are following and the GPS receive good signal. So it's not needed to be on a helmet, can also be on the garments, but and it's not the final solution, so can be adapted to any kind of emergency. This is one of the questions that we have on the channel. This helmet, one of the user requirements that we have for the helmet, it's to be useful at least during 15 minutes indoors. So we need to be sure that the helmets, it's working properly at least during 15 minutes, that it's the time that the firefighters or the rescue teams are inside of the buildings that are in risk of collapsing. Every 15 minutes they change, so we need to ensure this time. But in fact, the helmet can be working during much more time. I think that in some tests we have the helmet working for an hour or so, but we are quite sure that it can be working without more problems for at least 2 hours. And at this moment, the camera, there's a question about if the camera is sending the image in vivo of what the emergency teams are looking at. At this moment, we are not sending the images of this camera, but with the communication systems of AlphaNet, we can use mobile phones that are able to send photos and also some images and small video recording, and this can be sent to the emergency management system. So it's not through the camera that it's being used for processing that we can take these images, but for another sensors or mobile phones, or even another camera that can be connected to the same small network and communications network that is secured and cannot be hacked. So it's not with this one, but with another one can be done. In fact, during the field test, we send some pictures in real time using this, the devices of all the system. Then, just to give you some details on the functionalities of the helmet, now it's acquiring trajectories provided by all the sensors, and it's automatically detecting when we are in indoor and outdoor and we are in a transition area. This was one of the more critical points of the system, and it provides a combined trajectory. It's for the user, it's completely transparent. The user, the only thing that needs to do is to switch on and switch off the helmet, and the user do not need to configure anything. So it's very, very easy to use, because we do not want the emergency teams to have to take care about the helmet. It's something that just switch on and it's working by alone. And the helmet is able to store the raw data for further processing and for post-mortem analysis. At this moment, of course, we are still working on the refinement on the algorithms on operational environments, that it's not laboratory environments, it's there are different requirements. And we are doing an intensive testing and validation campaign, including using the system in very strong daylight or night. As you can see, the helmet has been used inside of a cave without any kind of problem. We need also to test it in snowing environments, etc. Okay, there's an intensive testing campaign for different operational scenarios, and we are doing the evaluation of the performance in the field exercise and analyzing the user's feedback. At the end, what we want is to ensure that the system that we are developing can be useful for the emergency teams. And this is what we are doing now, ensuring how this can be useful for them. So it works, but it should work for them. It should be useful. With this, we conclude this webinar. I'm sorry we are a little bit over the schedule. If you want more information on our project, I'd like to invite you to take a look at our web or follow our social networks, especially Twitter and LinkedIn. We publish there the latest news on our project and some images and how everything is going on. And if you are interested on contacting us, you can send us an email at this email address that you have here. And now it is time for open discussion. There are some questions on the chat, some of them not yet answered, mainly the ones regarding the emergency management system. I don't know if in 1 minute, Brando, maybe you can try to answer one of the questions that we have on the YouTube channel, that it's regarding the layers of the emergency. I like to ask Brando and the other presenters to open the cameras now. And Brando, if it's possible, maybe if you are there, I cannot see you now. Okay, I cannot see him now. I will try to answer the question. It's, does the emergency management system allows to overlap a layer with the extent of the hazard to monitor it alongside the tracking of the fireman? Yes, you can upload different maps and different layers to the emergency management system. Okay, not only orthophoto maps, but also different polygons, etc. And you can upload layers in a system that it's quite easy to do. So it's not just to upload the image there. You need to define the coordinates, but it's quite, in 5 minutes, everything is done. The question about if the positioning device can be adapted to other helmets, yes, it can be done. It's quite easy. Regarding how often is the positioning of the rescuers updated in the emergency management system, at this moment it's 16 seconds. This is because of the operational aspects of the people of Sarai, but I was told that this can be changed to the needed of the users. There's a question from Elena Bayard. Does it incorporate a camera to emit live the video of the first responders? The answer is not really, but it can be done because we have, Daniele, maybe you can explain better. You have some phones that allow to send images and small video recordings, Daniele?
Yeah, so you can use commercial phones. So, I mean, any Android phones or commercial phones or other devices to do so.
Perfect. And I think the other two questions are answered during the presentation. It's the batteries can be replaced easily of the helmet, yes. And the extent of the area covered by the portable communication systems, it depends on the rucksack. It goes from short hundreds of meters to 10 kilometers, as Daniela said in the presentation. Great. So at this moment, I just want to thank you all for being here, being in live, for being another day. Maybe today it's not 16th for you, but we are happy you to be here and to hear about our project, and just thanks all the partner for the big effort in these times of COVID. It has not been easy to manage all these tests and all this material. So thank you all. And in name of the consortium and myself, I will be glad to say goodbye. And here we are if you have any questions. Bye-bye.